So all the images we place around us, subconsciously, we are reading them. Each time we walk into a room, each time we sit in a room, each time we sleep in a room, we're reading what is around us. And so that's actually my latest book, Your Home is a Vision Board. I talk exactly about how that influences you and how you can shift this.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who turn their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbi Sluice, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to the Dare to Declare podcast. Today's guest is someone that I admire so much, in that I've been watching her work for quite a while, just because she is a master, and she is a master in Feng Shui, and also has a unique take on vision boards. And in fact, she also was in the movie The Secret. And so I'm just super excited to share her wisdom today and to share her with you. So welcome, Marie Diamond, to the Dare to Declare podcast.
Thank you so much, Debbi, for having me here. So excited.
For sure. And so let's dive right in. And I was curious when I first met you to understand, well, first off, I understand you're Dutch descent, right?
Yeah.
And so I was curious, like, where does that fit into the Chinese piece around the feng shui, and like, how did you discover that? So could you just share your story around how at a very young age you discovered feng shui?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Belgium, and so I'm Dutch speaking. And I grew up in a Catholic family, so just traditional Flemish background. And so the whole Asian culture was the most we connected with was Chinese food. Once a week, we were very much into eating Chinese um, in my family. But there was just, I had no idea about the culture and about the systems they used. That was just so far from my life. And so I had something happening to me when I was 15. I was run over by a truck and I was declared dead. And while they were trying to resuscitate me, um, I left my body and I went to the other side. I went to the place of light, where it was told to me that I had to go back, that I was here to enlighten more than 500 million people. So a couple of days later, I woke up out of coma with this message, but I had no idea what that really meant at that point. Yeah, the word enlightenment is also not part of our Catholic background, right? And but I already had a spiritual mentor, and I asked him a few months later, like, what did I do wrong? Like, why did I attract this? I was aware of manifestation, law of attraction, and mindset. It was like I did not have the mindset to die. So why does that happen? And then he said to me, "You have bad feng shui." And that was the first time I ever heard about the words feng shui. And I asked him, "What is this?" He said, "Well, it's where you sleep, where you live, has an influence on you." And so he suggested I would change bedrooms. And the bedroom I stayed in till that point was just really not good vibes. And I had a lot of nightmares. And my life was not going so great there. I was depressed. I had bullies at school. So I changed the bedroom, changed the color, changed the images, and my life turned around. I mean, literally, the bullies became friends. My relationship with my father improved tremendously. I became a happier child. And so that was like the first time I became aware that the energy of a space could influence me so much. Now, it took still some time till I was like 30, till knowing more about it, but there were some basic principles I received at that time that I kept practicing. And it's only at 30, when I already was a lawyer, when I already started teaching about meditation and enlightenment, I already had gone through a spiritual awakening, um, that I started implementing more feng shui also for my students. And I started studying with the grandmaster in Malaysia, that ultimately led me to become a feng shui master. I'm still a guest in the Chinese culture, of course, um, but I'm trained as a classical feng shui master. So I kind of brought East and West together. And when I train people and certify people, it's really based on the traditional systems. Um, and I, of course, add to that the law of attraction, manifestation, how the neuroscience is working. So it's a really interesting combination that I brought forward. But yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Amazing. Something that I didn't catch the first time when I heard this story was the fact that you're only 15 and that you had a spiritual advisor. So that I'm curious about how that person came into your life, especially being a conservative Catholic. And then the other question I have is that your parents were okay with you repainting your room and rearranging your room, because I know the way that I was raised, money was always tight. And so it's like it's good enough. So those are my two questions for you about your spiritual advisor. Like, who was this person? How did you come to have them in your life?
Well, I'll actually first answer the question about my parents because that makes more sense. So my parents, they were Catholic, but my father had a mentor, and that was actually a priest, a Canadian priest, because they lived in Canada for a while before we I was born. And so one of the things that he said to my father, because he was a clairvoyant priest, he was a mentor to politicians, to entrepreneurs, because he could see things beyond the normal realms. And he said to my father, there will be a child being born, but you need to go back to Belgium, and that child will, reach millions of people and improve their lives, and she will be clairvoyant. So that was like, and whatever she says to you, you need to follow through with her because she can see. And so when I then said to my parents, I want to move into another bedroom, they were like, okay. So because whatever I would say or announce, or I would say, oh, this person's going to die, or this is going on with that person, like I could see things as a child, they would listen because the priest, the Catholic priest, had said that my gift was a gift from God, so that they could trust it. So that was the first thing that I think is important to know. The second part is that I was, from a childhood on, I could see in other realms, and I had visitors from other realms. And one of the visitors was a master, and some people know him as Master Saint Germain. And so he would show up in my playroom. There, this being would appear, and he would start teaching me and talking to me. So when I said I reconnected with him, is that he again showed up in I call the three-dimensional world, and give me advice. And he has advised me over my whole life. So for me, I was always in contact with the other realm, of there were angels, or hearing of a voice that I recognized as Jesus or Mary. Like I had this connection as a child. And of course, my parents, were okay with all of that because I would say these things like, I've seen this. And they would accept that because, I was given the seal of approval by a Catholic priest. So that's a bit another side of my story.
Amazing. I'm so glad I asked. I almost stepped over that. And it's just so interesting to me. Like, the saying is, it's very crass, but there's two people in this world that tell the absolute truth: drunk people and children, right? And so when children are saying, when you were telling your parents, this is what I've seen, this is what's going to happen, you had no ulterior motive to not be telling the truth.
No, no, I didn't. It was really interesting because I remember very clearly I was about 3 years and a half old, and yeah, I always saw the energy between my parents, like the chakras connecting. I could see all this. And then what happened, I saw my father coming in with another woman. I saw the same situation. I saw the same energy, and I knew this was wrong. And I just, in my 3-year-old, I just had been reading Red Riding Hood and the Wolf, And I was like saying to my mom, she's a wolf. She needs to get out, And then she found out, she told me that later, that when I was growing up, that my father had an affair with this woman. So, and he became very aware, like, oh my God, she can see this, right? So,
Yeah. Wow.
but yeah, it is like, and I mean, as a child, I was trying to explain things in my concept. Of course, I
Right.
had no idea that they were intimate. These two women, these two people together. But for me, as I could see the vibration that was similar. So, yeah, it was really interesting experience growing up. Yeah.
Incredible. So then you became a lawyer. And so how did you go from working within law, but then you're in the movie The Secret, which has impacted, I don't, millions for sure.
Well, more than 500 million people. So it definitely has. Um, Well, the thing was, I was looking for a way to reach more millions of people. And so at 18, I had no idea about self help, about there were professions or professionals in our field of self growth, right? So again, situate myself back in Belgium. In America, people would have known that, but not in my country. And so I was thinking, well, if I would become a diplomat and would work for the United Nations or the European government, I would reach millions of people. So that's why I became an international lawyer. And I started working for the Belgian government and later on for the European government, where I was, with the work I did, and there was a combination between I studied programming, technical programming, digital programming, also on the side of being a lawyer. So I was actually running big projects for the government to digitalize everything in the background of. So I felt like I was impacting millions of people. But it also dawned on me that it was indirectly. I couldn't speak to all my people that I connected with or changed their lives somehow. And I had another very deep spiritual awakening when I was 26. And after that, people started coming to me. Like literally, people would come up to me in my job or from other people. The words start going out. I could see energy, that I could see what was going on in people's life. And so I literally started attracting my first clients. And so in the weekend, I would see people to read their energy, to help them to transform. I had no idea that there could be coaches or mentors. I had no idea about this. I was just reading energy. And then when I was 30, I got pregnant, and I was like, after this pregnancy, I have to deliver the baby. I'm not going to be back to be a lawyer. And I started a consulting company because I thought like, oh, I'm going to advise the governments. But before I knew it, a lot of uh, my first clients were actually politicians, because I worked with politicians before, and they would always say to me like, how do you do that? You're always so clear, so focused, so happy, so joyful. And I would always tell them, I do meditation. And so some of them start asking me, can you teach me how to do this? Can you coach me? Right. And I was like, okay. So they start coming to me. They were my first clients. And then I started speaking for some organizations. And before I knew it, I had thousands and thousands of people coming to my classes that I organized. And I was like, oh, let me do this, let me do this. But I had no idea what I was actually doing. And I had no idea that other people did the same thing in other countries. Right. But anyhow, after doing this for about 7 years, I started thinking I'm not reaching the millions of people that I need to impact, because I'm in a small country and I'm on the Flemish side. So that means it's only half a million, half of the 10 million is 5 million people. So I started going back and forth to America, first on holiday. Then I started meeting people that wanted me to work for them. I started giving conferences. And then about 2 years later, I was like, I'm ready to jump. So I actually immigrated to America. And within a few months, I had very top people working with me, like Bob Proctor, Marion Williamson, Jack Canfield, John Gray, and also several people in the Hollywood field. And I mean, they just asked me for reading the energy. Meanwhile, I was already a Feng Shui master. I was doing Feng Shui for them. So I was actually mentoring these people. And I had to be honest, Debbie, I had no idea who they are because I never read books of these people,
Right.
right? And I found out they had sold millions of books. And that's when they asked me to be part of a mastermind that they set up called the Transformation Leadership Council. And that's where actually the film The Secret was about 70% filmed with interviews of the people in the mastermind. And it was on my vision board. So because I put on my vision board when I was arriving in America, a little yellow post-it note, and I put on it, I'm going to be in a movie seen by millions of people that will transform the world.
Ah,
And I actually bought myself a fake Oscar. So it's like they are still there. Yeah.
love it.
So I bought myself a fake Oscar and put it on there, my name, Marie Diamond, 2005, because I was like 2001. So I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of time because it's like I'm in America, anything can happen, right? I lived in San Francisco, not in Hollywood at that time. But literally, my first Oscar winning client came like a few weeks after I put the Oscar there. And it was so interesting. And then I attracted being in The Secret. What at that time was really just a little movie that was going to be airing in Australia. And a lot of people actually in our mastermind said no to the interview because it was not their market. The market was the USA. But
Mm.
for me, I didn't bother about the market because if I could reach millions of people, that was all I needed to do. If that was in Australia, that was good by me. And of course, the movie went viral and the book went viral. And so now we have reached more than 500 million people by the audio, the video, translated in 40 languages. I mean, it has been a phenomena. But some people asked me from the people that were interviewed and were not allowed in the movie, that they're just there, what they were sharing didn't fit, or the people that didn't say yes to the interview, like, Marie, why are you in this movie? It looks really beautiful. And I just said to them, I was on my vision board. Was it on yours? That was
Yeah.
my answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. And I remember you telling me about is her name Rhonda? Rhonda, right? And the person who put the movie together. And was she on your vision? Like something about her blonde hair and blue eyes, something like that too?
Yeah. So it was interesting because I always had very intense dreams of things that would happen in my life.
Oh,
So about
dreams.
2 weeks before I met her, there was this dream of a woman with half blonde hair like mine and blue eyes saying to me, "I'm from Australia. Pay attention when you meet me." That were the words in the dream. And so then this woman came to sit next to me and said, "Hi, I'm Rhonda Byrne," in an Australian accent. "I'm from Australia. I'm here to shoot a movie called The Secret." And I turned to her and said, "I pay attention." And so she's like, "Oh, you're so enthusiastic." I said, "Yeah, tell me more about this." And so we not only I became in the movie, I also became her mentor, helped her with Feng Shui. And 50% of the people in The Secret were my clients at that time. And so also the publisher was my client and the marketing person was my client. The PR people were my clients.
Wow.
So that's why people call me the secret behind the secret. Yeah.
So good. The secret whisperer.
Yes. Good whisper. Yeah, I love that.
You know, I was just rewatching it because I wanted to rewatch to see your part in that because it'd been a little while. So I was just watching it this morning actually, and the story that you share or that's shared in the movie is of the artist and how you went to his home and he was saying he wanted to date and he wasn't dating because and I love the music even they play and how provocative you even kind of look with a woman that was kind of turning away
Yeah.
from him. But what caught my attention was the like the coaching that you gave him, which was to paint a new picture. And I thought, there it is, image, vision board. Like the image is so key. Can you talk a little bit about that story?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, this was a director of a movie, and I mean he had access to a lot of beautiful young women, but he was set up with a blind date because he just did not get anyone to go dating with him. And he was actually really gorgeous. I mean, if I would have been single, I would have been interested in him. Right? But so everywhere I went into his home, specifically, and that's what something I didn't share in the movie, um, where his relationship direction was based on feng shui was an image that he painted himself of a woman kind of nude with like a towel in front of her and like looking away, right? Right, I'm not interested in you. And I said, "Oh, this image is everywhere, like every room." He said, "Yeah, I painted that myself." And I said, "This is like my ideal woman." He said, "But no, she's not even looking at you. She's away from you." So I said, "Why don't you paint what you really want?" He said, "Well, I want many women now. I've been, on a dry spell for like 5 years." I said, "Well, paint it." So he was a painter, so he could paint that. And after 6 months, I met him again in Paris, and I said to him, "How is it going?" He said, "Oh, I'm dating so many women. It's been amazing." I said, "I really want a steady life now." And said, "Well, paint it." And so he put an image of him and a woman and children. And 6 months later, he met her. They have 3 children, exactly like in the painting. But what is this really about? Is that I say, okay, we can make a vision board, but everything around you acts like a three-dimensional vision board. So all the images we place around us, subconsciously, we are reading them. Yeah. Each time we walk into a room, each time we sit in a room, each time we sleep in a room, we're reading what is around us. And so that's actually my latest book, Your Home is a Vision Board. I talk exactly about how that influences you and how you can shift this. Because a lot of people make beautiful vision boards. Yeah. And then I've seen them hanging anywhere, Debbie. I mean, I remember this very well-known theatrical director, and he put a vision board up in his toilet. He said, like, "I love watching it when I'm on the toilet," and said, "Just remember what you're doing on that toilet while you're watching it, right?" So it goes to, the wrong direction. And so he placed it somewhere else, exactly where I indicated him, and everything went, he couldn't get investment in his new play, and now investment starts rolling in. So we have to understand that everything around us is giving us a message 24 hours a day. So when we're sleeping, when we're working, when we're living, when we're just walking around in a house, we have a subconscious experience that we have what we call in our brain mirror neurons. And so whatever we see, we reflect back in us. Whatever we are, we reflect back into the world. So the question is, what are you reflecting on? Yeah. And so feng shui is literally the energy system that is very well known in Asia, that talks about how the energy flow is in your home. And so, like, we can compare with acupuncture, like, you want to have the right energy flow in your body, but what about the body that you live in with your body, right? And that is your home. And so, if that is aligned with your dreams and your goals, then your three-dimensional vision board is aligned with your vision board. And so there are certain principles and rules that you can play with to make that happen. And adding that to it, the Chinese Feng Shui Masters say you add 33% to your manifestation. Yeah. So it's not 1%. You can really shift tremendously your life by making sure your home, your space is aligned with your inner dreams and goals.
Yeah, so amazing. I love that. Can you hold up your book again? I think everyone needs to make sure that for those of you who are watching on YouTube, but right now it says Your Home is Your Vision Board. And the subtitle is Harness the Secret to Manifesting Power of Your Home. And it was published by Hay House, which you're in great company, right? Like all those people that you were talking about earlier. Person that I've gotten to know is Ken Honda. I know that
Yeah.
he's been there too. And he's
Yeah,
like,
dear friend of mine. Yeah.
yeah, I got to meet him a few years ago, also through the Canfield group. And um,
Yeah.
so can you give the listener some tips that are in your book, some applicable tips that they can take away from here that will empower people to harness the energy, and maybe some mistakes like the toilet thing is really helpful, like what not to do.
Yes. So the first thing, I would love for you to become aware of your space. So walk through your home and look with the eyes of the universe. Yeah. God, creator, whatever you call it, open your door and like, what do you see? Like you're single and you see only images of lonely people, then you actually been telling the universe, that's exactly what I want. If you walk around and you see chaos and clutter, then you're surprised that nothing is happening in your life. Well, you are creating a mess, and you're sending the universe like, I don't really know what I want because I create chaos. And then universe will respond to you with chaos in a way, right? So we need to kind of become aware, first of all, look at your home with different eyes. The second thing is definitely start decluttering, creating space, organize things around you so that at least you create like things in an order, like a calmness, a peacefulness. Because when you also create a void and you let go of things, the universe has as a law, whatever is that space, it needs to fill it up with good things for you. Yeah. So that's a law that we also need to understand. And we really have to think about the law of attraction, the law of resonance. So, do you resonate with the things that are around you? So, for example, you have here behind me, I have here my books, my awards. So when I come in, I see this. Like I see things around me that are reflecting my business. Yeah, reflecting my skill set. I don't have here in my office too many pictures of my family. I mean, there's one picture, but like in my living room, that would be focus on my family, right? In my bedroom, I would focus on my romantic life. So every space has its focus somehow. So don't mix all of that. Yeah. I
Mm.
remember a woman that was saying to me, like, oh, my kids are always sleeping with me. And I said to her, look at the pictures, said, oh, they're all pictures of my children. And I said, you want a romance? She said, yes. And I can't get any. And I said, well, take all these pictures and put them in the living room. And the first thing that happened, the kids stopped sleeping with her. They stayed in their own bedroom because the focus was different. And she put romantic things around her and she attracted a romantic partner. So it's all about what is your focus of every room. Then a third step that I always suggest to people, and you will see that in the book Your Home is a Vision Board, is that there's also a special app that people can download. It's called Mary Diamond. And so based on that, there's a birthday, your personal birthday and your birth gender you put in, and it calculates actually which areas of your home are the strongest for you. And when you do that, you will get four directions. One for success, that's all about career and money, one for relationship, one for wisdom, and one for health. And there are four directions that don't work so well for you. Now, this is based on your personal energy. Yeah. So, what people then do, then they open the compass, and then they will have a compass that shows up, and it will show the directions that are good for you. And then you hold the compass in the center of your room and you look, where is my success direction? So, in this room, my success is actually right here. Yeah. So I put symbols like you see the secret, right? A magazine, my newest book, other books, and there are many more down there that you don't see. But the whole point is that um, you are activating, it's almost like acupuncture. You're activating certain areas in your space connected with what it means for. Like in my health direction, I could put books on health or supplements. Like you're just talking about Ken Honda, his book Happy Money could be in your success direction because of money. So we all always have things, if it's not books, that we can place to activate our space. Another point is that we always want to be able to see the flow of the people coming into your space. So literally, I see if somebody comes into my space because I see the door coming, people coming in. Never sit with your back to the main door, or don't sit with your face against the wall or against the window so you don't see what's going on behind you, because then you don't see the opportunities of the universe come to you. So it's like we say, you are in a power position. You're the king, you're the queen, you're the emperor, the president of your own space. And if you look at a president in the White House or a queen or a king, they will always put themselves up that they can see people come to them,
Right.
right? Never sit with their back to the door. Or any CEO will never sit with their, against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So position yourself in a good way. And there's so much more tips about colors and what you can place in certain areas, and that's all in the book Your Home is a Vision Board.
For sure. And and you are so generous with your information on your Instagram. Uh so And I just want to ask you two things, and before we close up today, um, is what is your strategy? Like because you just give and give, like you give so much, and you show up consistently on video, a lot of video. So I'm just curious about your strategy with marketing and if there's any tips, because a lot of my listeners are coaches, entrepreneurs. They're also, wanting to connect with people through social media, through email lists. So if there's
Yeah.
anything that you can talk about that. And then I'm also curious. Well, let me just drop that first, and I'll ask you my next question.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do believe is in the law of generosity. And so by being generous to people without the idea of I need to get something back. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just generous. And that's exactly what we did with The Secret. There were at that time DVDs, there were 3,000 DVDs that Rhonda had. And I said to her, you need to use the law of generosity. And so that means that we were giving away the DVDs, even on the street. We would walk the street and give DVDs away. And so when you let go of things and you share with the goodness of your heart, then there is the law that says it will be filled up again. Yeah, you'll give and you'll receive. Yeah, but you need to give unconditional. Right. So for me, I do that through Instagram. So we do beautiful videos. And then, we do amazing on Instagram. We did last year more than 30 million views. And that's, again, about my impact number, right? So my impact number, I always think in millions of sharing. Yeah. And I've always seen that is what comes back to me. So because I give it so unconditional and I don't know who is going to affect, but I meet people on the street sometimes in a bank or, in a Target that come up to me like, oh my God, thank you so much. That one tip changed my life. So did I get money from that person? No, but that's not how it needs to work because I get money through different ways. I call it the direct generosity. And then the universe brings me indirect generosity back. That's a belief I have. And I've seen this with all the great ones. They would always be super generous. And I'm sure, Debbie, you're doing your podcast. This is part of your generosity. You want to share, people's knowledge and your wisdom. And so ultimately you don't know who is listening, right, to that. But this is a generosity feeling. And so I believe in that. And because of that, people download the app or then they buy a book, or I don't always know the steps that people take, but I do believe in reaching millions of people. And if I know them, if I don't know them, I am connecting my wisdom with their hearts.
Yeah.
And so that's I call it spiritual marketing. Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. It's like, or an energetic marketing. So I just give. And then, people have seen me. They're like, oh, can we do this? Can we do this? Or I get a branding deal. Or, somebody said, oh, I saw you. Can I get you on my podcast? I don't know how the ways of the universe are working,
Yeah.
but I always get a lot of generosity back.
Yeah, it's so true. Oh, I love that. That you've actually coined that phrase, generosity marketing, right? That's what you said. No, spiritual
I got spiritual marketing or
marketing. Yeah.
energetic marketing, but
Yeah.
I even love more your generosity marketing.
Well, to circle back to when you were a little girl and even in vitro that you were prophesied, it feels like. Is your name your birth name? I'm curious.
No, it's not. Marie is. Marie was the name that was given to me, but my last name is the name that my spiritual teacher gave to me. He said this will be the name that you need to use. My original name, I don't think people would be able to pronounce it in America. So I'm okay that
Yeah.
not to have that. But yeah, because it's also I want to show people how, how is a diamond, right? So a diamond is something that over thousands and perhaps millions of years got so much pressure
Mm.
that from something that's just dust, right, becomes a shining object. And I had to go through um, my life to a lot of pressure, especially in my childhood, where I didn't know if that little dust that I was would become a diamond. Yeah. but every day I work on my facets. Like I polish my facets. I meditate. I contemplate. I it's like I've always seen all the big teachers, they constantly are always working on themselves to improve themselves. And that is when I teach people online or in person, I'm okay to share what I am working on because I need people to know that I am still a work in process. A progress will come from it, but I still need to work on myself about certain aspects. And that is something I do believe in. And if people say, "Well, you made it, you are there," no, we're still working very hard on ourselves to really improve ourselves as a human being.
For sure. This word diamond has come up a couple of times in the last week in that I was sharing the story. I think it's Earl Nightingale. I think that's who it is, but he talks about acres of diamonds and the story of the African farmer and how he went off, and yet here his field was with acres of diamonds, and how we have the diamonds within us. So the analogy and the metaphor. And then I was doing a boot camp training last week, and as I was dropping nuggets, basically from people like you and Jack and Bob, and there's, so many greats that I've been able to take phrases or things that make these connections. And my students were saying, "Deb, those are like Debbie's diamonds." And I said, "Well, I'm just borrowing from others." But yeah, so yeah, just wanted to share
But
that as well.
diamonds can be passed on, right?
Right.
So they're eternal, right? They're not belonging to one person in a way.
No.
Even people that have a diamond ring or diamond necklace, they are passed on to the next generations because they're so precious, right? It's a precious wisdom or precious stone. And so it's interesting to talk about inner diamond. So my meditation program is called the Inner Diamond Meditation. Of course,
Oh.
my Feng Shui school is called Diamond Feng Shui School because I bring in all the facets that we need to focus on, and both on the inner side and on the outside in our life. But yes, I love that. So yeah, thanks for receiving that name. And it's interesting when they checked my numerology, I'm a 10 of diamonds. So I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, diamond is definitely one of my precious frequencies. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, as we close up today, is there any final words of wisdom for? Well, let's just also talk practically. How can people purchase your book? You talked about your app. Is there anything else you want to share to make sure that people know how to find you if they want to work with you, be more into your vibration? How can people do that?
Well, first of all, indeed, you can get the book Your Home is a Vision Board. It's the latest book. There's a whole range of books that you can find on Amazon and in good bookstores.
Mhm.
The second thing, they can go to marydiamond.com to find out more about my online courses, my online shop. Of course, join Mary Diamond Official on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, so that you get a lot of videos and a lot of information. And there's, tons of beautiful videos that can help you. And yeah, I would say just start, first of all, with becoming more aware of the manifestation tool that is the most overlooked in the self-help, and that is your home. Yeah, so just pay attention, declutter if you can, let go of a few things, and just yeah, reorganize things, make it more your three-dimensional vision board.
Yeah, so good. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Marie. It was just lovely. You're delightful. I just love your energy, and I appreciate you being so vulnerable here, sharing your personal stories with me and with my audience. And I know this is going to be a favorite episode. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you for what you do in the world.
Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there. Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY Vision Board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this: flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view, or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers. This course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbisluice.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY vision board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.